Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
The agony won't go away.
We're sad and heartbroken. Our lives are forever changed.
The family of Tate Meir, one of the 4 Oxford students killed in the shooting, speaks out for the first time, as the suspect in the case plans a possible insanity defense.
Today, Tate Meir's family appeared at a news conference announcing a civil lawsuit against the school officials and Crumbley family.
And just a short time later, court filings revealed attorneys for the suspect in the case plan to use an insanity defense. Defender Karen Drew is following that part of the story. We'll get to her in just a moment, but let's start things off here at 5 with Defender Sean Lay and that lawsuit filed just today. Sean.
Devin, that suit was announced right here at the Westin here in Southfield. It breaks down like this, naming 2 Oxford teachers, 2 counselors, and the school dean, along with the Crumbley family, as defendants in the suit, accusing them of not notifying authorities after they saw apparent warning signs. And then I want you to listen closely to the heartbreak in the voice of Tate Meir's father, who spoke out here for the very first time today.
Today's the 58th morning we've woken up without Tater.
Buck Meir is Tate Meir's father. You can feel the emotion in his voice. Wife Sherry did not speak. Her face says it all.
We're not doing good. All we do is walk around the house and think about Tate. We think about him every day. We sit in his room. We listen to his playlist off of Spotify. We miss him, and we're not doing good.
The Meirs are demanding accountability by suing those who had contact with Ethan Crumbley at Oxford High School, as Crumbley seemed to be crying out for help.
Yeah, the ball was dropped. The ball was dropped.
Chad and Megan Gregory have joined the lawsuit. Their 15-year-old son Keegan survived, but is severely traumatized, as Justin Schilling was gunned down right next to him.
And the minute the shooter took his gun off of Keegan and pointed at the wall where he was going to kill him, he ran down empty hallways past Tate's body. He was the 5th victim that managed to run.
Attorney Ben Johnson says school officials violated the state's Child Protection Act by not reporting Ethan Crumbley's disturbing behavior and violent drawings.
The school had absolutely 911 fire burning, and they did not do anything to extinguish the flames, and sadly ended up giving him the backpack that he used.
Buck Meir says his family has always had the back of Oxford schools.
And the one time they needed to have our back, they didn't.
Back here live. First thing we did today was reach out to Oxford Schools and Oxford Schools attorney. We have yet to hear back from them. Let's talk about the case a little bit here. Ben Johnson pointing out those named in the suit who work for the schools, the teacher, counselor, and dean, have protections now from the state's governmental immunity law. So he expects many appeals in the case. He expects the case to take years to be resolved. Devin.
Tate Meir's father is looking for anything positive to come out of this tragedy, right?
Anything. He spoke really eloquently about that. He says the family plans to help others by doing this. The 42 Strong program or foundation, remember that, 42 Strong, that's a mentoring program just being formed right now in Tate's name and also his football jersey numbers. The dad says to mentor kids, not to ignore him. Coming up at 6 o'clock, much more on the 42 program. It's 42 Strong program tonight at 6. More on that.
We will see you then, Sean. Now from the lawsuit, let's turn to the major developments in the criminal case against the suspect, Ethan Crumbley.
In a court filing today, attorneys for the teen say they plan to pursue an insanity defense. For that part of the story, we'll want to get to Defender Karen Drew with what comes next, Karen.
Well, today's filing, Kim, stating Ethan Crumbley will plead insanity. It's not a surprise. It's procedural. So that means his defense attorney must give notice to the court, the prosecutor, and then the next move is Ethan will now be evaluated by the Center for Forensic Psychology.
Was Ethan Crumbley insane at the time he's accused of shooting and killing 4 Oxford High School students back in November of last year? In today's filing, that is what Crumbley's defense attorney is claiming. Next step, the teenager will be evaluated. We talked to prominent defense attorney Neil Rockide to help explain the process.
They'll even give him tests to see whether or not he had whether he's faking it or malingering, or whether or not he's acting now like somebody that has a mental illness.
It will be the job of Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald to prove Crumbly was sane at the time of the mass shooting.
The defense has some hurdles in this particular case, and they are that he didn't shoot up the school when his parents were there, that he waited until after his parents left, that he arguably went into a bathroom, that he had a backpack, that he pulled something out of the backpack like a gun. And all of that shows concealment, design, plan, purpose.
Ronkine says it can be a challenge to establish insanity. Two things need to be accomplished.
One, that at the time of the incident that he was suffering from a mental illness. And two, he has to show that at that time, that due to the mental illness, he was unable to appreciate either the nature of his conduct, in other to determine whether what was right or what was wrong, and he has to establish that he was unable to resist an impulse.
Meantime, Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald has previously stated that she has no reason to believe that Crumbly's mental state would affect his ability to face charges. Now, I did reach out to her today, and she did not want to comment further.
Yeah, Karen, the prosecutor, though, has talked about Crumbly's past and his childhood before.
She sure has, Kim. She has portrayed the Oxford High student as troubled, a person who tortured animals, fascinated with guns, and did have some disturbing writings on his homework the day of the shooting. Yeah. Clearly, there's a lot there to unpack.
Certainly more to come. Okay. Karen, thank you. Oxford High School sent an email to parents today about a security breach on campus.
A student who was not allowed to be at the school entered the building without permission. Student went into a classroom, was removed within minutes by a school resource officer. The district says the student did not pose a threat, was there actually with the intent of attending class. Well, we've been waking up to dangerously cold temperatures every day this week, and unfortunately, it does not look like we're going to get a break here anytime soon, Ken.
Oh, let's get over to Paul Gross for an update on the forecast, and we've got some snowflakes falling out there around town too, Paul.
In some places, yeah, and there's just another surge of this Arctic air coming in as well. But you can see all the cloudy skies here. We're in the 20s right now. We're not going to get all excited about it. I mean, this is the warmest we've been in a while here, but wind chills are in the teens, so it feels like teens when you step out the door, if you are stepping out the door. And you can see we do have some batches of very light snow here. We're going to be watching a cold front come down through the evening, so we are going to see some snow showers this evening, very minor accumulations. We're talking tenths of an inch, if even that. And temperatures will be slow to fall this evening, but after that front comes through, it's going to start just nosediving, and we're going to be back down probably into the upper single digits by tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that in the weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
Paul, thank you. In her State of the State address last night, Governor Whitmer laid out her priorities, including targeted tax cuts, and today she hit the road to try to sell it.
Governor made several stops around the state today, including one here in Detroit, and that's where our Rod Maloney caught up with her. Rod, this is all happening against the unmistakable shadow of an election year.
Well, let's look at the landscape, Devin. Okay, you got billions of dollars in surplus money. You've got an election year, and you've got politicians wanting to make voters happy. So what do you think they talk about? Tax cuts.
Right now, we have got an opportunity to make a tax code fairer for the people of Michigan.
The question is, how do you get there? In her State of the State address last night, the governor called for an end to the pension tax, agreed to in 2011 to help balance out a corporate tax cut. The governor also wants the earned income tax credit increased for low-income families.
It is our seniors and working families that need the relief the most, and it is the most equitable way to ensure that we're putting money in people's pockets that'll end up in our economy, that'll boost and support and strengthen our economy for everyone's benefit.
Those are targeted tax cuts, and the Senate Finance Committee Chair Jim Runstead says that the governor shouldn't be picking and choosing who gets relief.
What we really need for seniors is an across-the-board tax cut.
He points to rising inflation, too many open jobs, and Michiganders opting to move out of the state as signs tax relief shouldn't just go to pensioners when some retirees using 401ks and getting dividends will pay more tax, and seniors who need to work will get taxed even higher.
She wanted a tax cut for pensioners that would be different for a tax cut for those that receive, say, a dividend or a 401k or IRA, which would be different from a senior who didn't have any of those but had to go back to work.
Okay, so what happens here? Well, the legislature certainly has these bills already moving through. The governor knows what she wants and is likely to get at least part of what it is that she wants. But the devil's in the details, of course, and the governor's got her budget coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll probably get more clarity on that in terms of where they can meet in the middle in the days ahead. Reporting live downtown, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
All right, Rod, so an unusual situation as this time around the state is quite flush due to a combination of higher than expected revenue and the pile of federal aid due to the pandemic. Not everyone's going to agree on what to do with that money. As Crane's Detroit Business put it today, piles of cash have tax cut fever spreading in Lansing. Well, last night the governor told me we have to separate long-term goals from one-time money.
We have a surplus that is ongoing funds. We have one-time dollars from the federal government that we haven't deployed yet. I've laid out a number of ways that we can strategically use those one-time dollars in ways that put us on a path to long-term prosperity, but that don't anticipate an ongoing resource.
And we'll have more of my conversation with the governor, including whether the electric vehicle incentives are aimed at the right people, coming up tonight at 6.
All right, let's move now to the coronavirus. The state will hand out free KN95 masks so people can protect themselves from the Omicron variant. 10 million masks will be available at community organizations, local health departments, and MDHHS offices. A new variant of Omicron has been found in at least 17 states. It's being called the stealth variant, and it may be even more transmissible than Omicron, but there are indications that it is not more deadly. In an update today, doctors from Henry Ford Hospital say they are seeing encouraging signs. The number of people with COVID being admitted to Henry Ford hospitals is dropping.